Okay, let's continue.
Where is common sense? Common sense can also serve the purpose of removing you from being hidebound to rules, theories, ideas, and guidelines that will hamper or stifle the best decision in a particular situation. In other words, just because something says so, or just because it has always been done that way, is not a reason to abandon common sense about present needs and changed circumstances.
So,
cast away from you all the transgressions which you have committed, and get yourselves a new heart and a new spirit. For why should you die, O house of Israel? For I have no pleasure in the death of one who dies, says the Lord God. Therefore, turn and live. Ezekiel chapter 18, 31 to 32.
a lot of people, we need to teach people common sense. I have another situation, very interesting. There is one of our own, on this platform too, I will not mention the country, but on our platform, this person was crying one day. I was not even aware, but somebody told me that there is this sister that is crying on Facebook Live. What is the problem? Pastor, maybe you talk to her and maybe she needs some help. Okay. So I called. I am that I don't have time, but I called her. I called this lady and I said, what's your problem? It happened that she had financial problem. They were chasing her from her house. And I said, okay, no problem. How much do you need? She said she needs this amount. I told Mayowa, send that money to her. Okay, everything happened. So somebody heard somewhere that Pastor Sunday sent the money to the sister. Then they started talking that, oh, it means he wants to have something with you. That is why. So now what surprised me is not even what people are saying. But the sister now is telling other people that they said I should leave Pastor Sunday platform, I should go. Because since he sent me that money, maybe he has something to do. I said, so the sister now asked her, did he tell you anything? He said, no, he didn't tell me. He just helped me. So why did you obey them? Well, they said that. That is how the lady joined them, telling stories. I said, you see, common sense. I'm just giving these examples, not because it's connected to me, but there is a principle. Where you are eating from, in Russian language, they said the chair you are sitting on, don't cut the leg. You don't do that. It doesn't show common sense. So this guy went and joined the people who are selling the rumor. But they said he's dating, he wants to date you. But you, are you not the one they are talking about? What happened between? He said, nothing. He just asked me for help and I sent the money. So why are you not joining them to?
I couldn't even defend.
You could, instead of, wouldn't you even defend?
She couldn't even stand her ground and say, look, this is what happened. I was in need. I cried out. Somebody told him and he helped me and that's it.
He said, oh no, but they have some other stories that they told. They have other stories that confirm. So maybe, I don't know. So I just believe them.
So something similar, I think something similar happened to me that same period. Somebody on the platform that have been listening to you just sent me.
This all happened to people on the platform.
Just sent me a long kind of write-up that have you heard what they said about Dr. Sunday? Let us pray for him. It could be true. He said, didn't you see the way he talked? He said, nobody is perfect. He said, it's possibly happened though. So thank God for me. What saved me was I was reading the book, I think the irresponsibility of, the sin of irresponsibility. And I just read the line not too long ago about gossip. So I responded to her. I said, you've been following Dr. Sunday. You've been listening to him, right? I said, you have access to him. Have you verified the information? I said, I only use the word common sense. I said, common sense is supposed to tell you Go and first of all check and find out exactly. I said, okay, now you by telling me now, what do you want me to do? I said, do you want me to call him for you? Or you understand? So when I started challenging her, she now started saying, okay, stop, don't send me any mails again. People don't think.
People don't think.
People don't think.
Things, you know, common sense. I'm just teaching this as a common sense example. A lot of people don't use common sense. You know, use common sense.
People don't think.
But religion, what does religion tell you? Because religion wants you to think that everything must be perfect, everything must be holy. So they are now thinking as if it is for holiness we are fighting. But use common sense. Does that holiness concern you? Is it your own holiness? Fight for your own holiness. Yes. Why are you fighting for the holiness of another man? Fight for your own holiness. Everybody will answer before God. Fight your own. They'll say, oh, but he's attacking other men of God. So maybe. So what's your own problem?
What's your problem?
People attacking other men of God. Is that doctrine? It's common sense. There are a lot of examples like this every day. I'm talking about my own examples because they happen to me. But what about your own? I'm sure all of you have examples in common sense like this. Can you imagine there was a time that there was somebody who was living in my house, living in my own house, will not come down from living in this house. HMT is going on, will never come down. So later on, and they will not help. It will not help to ever. So the administration of the house say, what are you doing this? Are you helping do anything? They say, oh, pastor allowed me. I say, yes, I allowed you, but use common sense. Offer your service, or even come to even retreat, or come to HMT or attend. So when they now came and say, you have to leave the house because we want other people also would like to have that opportunity. Then he started coming to me, pastor, they want to chase me away. So I said, it is you who allowed me. I said, what is the question? They said, what am I doing? I said, so you answer that question.
What are you doing?
Don't you know that there are other people too? There are a lot of other people that will have to have that would like to have that opportunity. But you are staying in this house. People are paying thousands from America to come here. Well, I say I don't care. If they are saying you should leave, I'm sorry. There is nothing I can do in that case. And since you cannot answer what you are doing, common sense. I don't know if you people are getting what I'm saying. Common sense. A lot of common sense. I'm sure all of you are meeting with these kind of things every day. People don't use common sense. It's just like saying, for example, my brother, when I came to Russia here, my brother was always, he was not a believer like actively like this time. So because he knew socialism, he knew communism, he was always afraid of them. And I was staying in Moscow in his house. So he saw me reading Bible one day and said, if I see that Bible again, he said, if I see that Bible, you will leave my house because I don't want them to come and catch me because of you. He said, this is Russia. Put your Bible in the bottom of your suitcase until 5 years later when you go home. When you get home, you will remove it and begin to read. And I said, I may believe, but God just gave me wisdom that just keep quiet. While I'm still here in his house, let me put it under. Because if I want to say, God, I will not deny God. I want to argue. I would have been in Nigeria a long time. I would not be doing what I'm doing today. You know what I'm saying? It's not because I deny God, though. But this is the only person I know here. It's my sustenance here, my source. If it's my source right now, and he's telling me I should do this thing, I better do it. Okay, somebody will now say you compromise. It's your thought, that it's your own opinion that I compromise. But I know I have to do compromise for a little time so that I will be able to have greater freedom. After 2 weeks, They sent me to Belarus. He's no more there. I got my Bible on my own and started reading my own. So, but if I had wanted to fight with him, it would have been the end of everything.
And sir, that's the problem we have in a lot of organizations back home in Nigeria, where you see people bring in their religious practices into the office. When they are supposed to be working, they are reading their Bible. When they are supposed to be working, they are having fellowship. When they are supposed to be working, and when you ask them, they'll tell you, can't you see that I was reading my Bible? Or can't you see some weird practices? Using up your employer's time. When Christ said, give to Caesar what is Caesar's.
And if you are not faithful in
another man's, you understand? So people don't use. It's just common. I think the problem is even the word common sense. A lot of Nigerians use that word a lot, but they don't know the meaning.
They don't understand.
They don't. They don't know the meaning of what common sense is. So it's a very pitiable solution. I had an experience. Even Pastor Doris was aware of it. I came for the last HMT. While I was there, people were telling me, "Oh, bring this book, bring this book, bring this book." So I took a lot of books back to London for different people.
And you have to pay extra SS luggage?
You understand? And when I got there, I paid extra luggage, got to London. Then I said, okay, I was calling them, how do we get the book? One said, okay, let me meet you at your office. One said, okay, let's meet there. And I was even traveling to points of midpoint to give them. Then there was this lady. She lived far away from where I stay. I said, okay, how do you want me to get it? Okay, just bring it. I said, bring it how? I know.
I brought it from Ukraine already.
I know what? I bought it here. I got a discount for her, right? I got there. Then you pay
for the ticket, you pay for the luggage.
And I said, okay, you know what? My office is like 1 hour, 30 minutes away from where I live. I said, okay, the best thing, why can't you come close to my office? Then I will meet you kind of like halfway after I close. She couldn't make it. Then later she said, okay, I should post it. Okay, I said, okay, first and foremost, I told her this is the cost of the books. Yeah. I bought it here already from UK.
It's not for free.
I paid with my money here, right? I said, okay, I bought it. This is the amount. And they've already given me a discount. By the time she paid the money to my account, she paid less than the cost of the book. Now, she still wanted me to post the book to her at another cost to myself. And I've already paid extra luggage. I said, I'm not even asking you of extra luggage. Then later she started insulting me. Serious insult.
So you're not a brother.
Then later he said, I will report you to Pastor Sunday. So I said, then I sent her, I take the insult that she sent to me, I sent it back to her. I said, please send this to him.
That this is what I wrote.
No, send this to him and say, use this to report me to him. I said, people don't reason. Then eventually he said, okay, if you can't send me, just return my money. I said, oh, thank you very much. I just refunded that money back to her. I can keep the book for myself. It's just...
No, it's not possible.
Yes. What people do. There was a day I was speaking on live telly and my kind of like phone went off and you were saying, Chris, what happened? She was the one. She was calling me, and she was on the platform, knowing I was speaking. And it was serious.
Common sense like, serious problem. This common sense thing, that serious thing. No. Okay, you want to start there?
I just want to add to what he said. He just said now. A whole lot of funny things happening. There's this guy that bought a car from my husband for over 12 years. Because he's so kind, he can even give you without even collecting. And so they are taking him for granted. So the guy paid as he wanted, and the one he didn't want to pay, he left it. So that was last month. He sent message through WhatsApp. We don't know that. We didn't know that it was his WhatsApp. He now said, it's me, Chibozo. Asking my husband, can I see you? Okay. My husband told me.
Press it again.
He said, can I see you? So I was, I'm always thinking people are having problems because of the way I respond to their problem. We were busy. I said, why don't you ask him to call you, or you call him and find out what is that? What is it? Is it worth him seeing you? He can say it on the phone. My husband now said, can you come and see me where I am? Because we thought it was an urgent thing we need to respond. He said, I can't make it. I said,
the one who wants to
I said, you're the one that you called, and you want this man bigger than you, your elder brother, somebody that, to come and meet you where you are. It's not convenient for him.
And
That's
he's not the one who needs you.
See, yeah, that's what I said. I told him, is he crazy? I said, please tell him to tell you what he wants and drop your phone. Let him use his own phone to call you. You understand? I said, what is it? He now called back. He wanted to borrow money, and we will still go and drive and go and borrow the money. I said, he's not serious. And I asked him, is it the way you believe? Come on, and it's not convenient for him.
These are your own.
So that's why I said, let me help you. Let me just help you here. I said, I told him, this guy is crazy. He didn't even finish the one he took from you. He has not apologized. He's asking you to come and see him so he can tell you there's a problem and he wants to borrow money. I told him he's not serious.
And the one he borrowed before?
He didn't even pay. So these are the kind of things we see. Many of them.
Chineke. Common sense is not common though. Common sense is not common at all.
Number two, understand the ease with which the human mind is convinced that an idea is right, contrary to indicators clearly demonstrating otherwise. We are human, we are fallible, and our brains work in certain ways as a means of providing shortcuts to ensure survival in a world where being chased by predators could end your life.
Look, are you people seeing the photograph? The guy is blindfolded. That is why we have common sense, instinct.
Some of the things our amazing mind is capable of doing to override common sense include: number one, maintaining our own sense of reality out of proportion with identifiable reality.
That's what we are saying.
Yeah.
We over-magnify our own reality without balancing it with other people's realities. And that often happens. We see our own reality, we know our own truth. If you have listened to the truth series, you have to speak truth to yourself, speak truth to, but your own truth, you have to consider it with the truth of others. But when you over magnify your own truth or your own sense of reality, not considering the reality around you of others, you lose common sense.
Number one, maintaining our own sense of reality out of proportion with identifiable reality. While each of us creates a reality out of our own experiences and makes sense of our world through this personal lens, for the most part, we understand that our sense of reality is only a small portion of a much larger picture. Number two.
That is very important. That my reality is not all. What I'm feeling, what I've experienced is not all the truth. There might be another side to that truth. And there will be many other sides also to that truth. So we have to always balance our own truth, our own reality, with the larger truth.
Number two, reflex or associative thinking. This is reactive thinking that is based simply on what we've learned through life, reenacting learned models and applying them to each new situation as it appears, without modifying the thought processes being applied. This type of thinking leads to errors in thinking because we refuse to put beyond standard associations formed in our mind about how things should be.
You see, when we only respond to situations out of the models we already have, out of what we are used to or the way we are used to responding, that is instinct. And we will always make mistakes because we have to condition things to the particular situation that's going on right now. So that we don't just respond by instinct and reflexes.
When we apply what we know to a present situation by reference to a similar past situation, by merely applying our mind's template without adjusting for the context, we are overriding common sense.
We have to consider always all situations. And that involves being in the here and now.
Number 3, invoking absolute certainty. Absolutism.
Babusha, I'm not sure you are in the here and now right now, Babusha. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. I think that brain has gone to rest. I think that brain, that common sense that needed some rest.
You're very important.
Don't worry. You have tried. You have been on your feet all day.
Yeah. Number 3, invoking absolute certainty. Absolutist black and white thinking about the world and others in it in a way that never allows space for doubt is often a cause for forgetting to apply common sense. For such a thinker, the one true way is the only way, and therefore seems like common sense even though it isn't.
You see, this is another problem in Africa. Black and white thinking. Black and white thinking. And that's what makes us to lose common sense. If it is herdsmen, it means they want to Islamize Nigeria. If it is Fulani people, it is Buhari that is behind it. Black and white thinking. It is inferior. It is primitive to be thinking like that. If you are not quoting from the scriptures, it means you are secular. You are not spiritual. Black and white thinking. It makes you lose common sense.
Number 4. Okay, pig-headedness is simple unwillingness to be wrong, ever. Founded on any number of reasons, including insecurities, fear, incomprehension, anger, and fear of ridicule, pig-headedness is the cause of many an irrational and unjustifiable decision or
and
action.
That's another problem in Nigeria too. We don't give people the benefit of the
doubt.
We don't even want to consider that I might be wrong. Or maybe I am the one who is not understanding what this person means. We don't know. In fact, benefit of a doubt, I heard about it only in Holland. I never heard of benefit of the doubt before. Can you imagine it? I grew up all my life in Africa. I never heard that there is something called benefit of a doubt. Until one Nigerian boy went and impregnated a Dutch girl. And they came to see me. And I said, what's this Dutch girl? Why did you, because the boy had already had another girl impregnated, and he came and impregnated you. Why did you? She said, I was just giving him benefit of the doubt. That was the first time I had even though it was a wrong benefit of the doubt situation in this case, but that was how I learned my own lesson. That was how I learned that word. And I took it that, even though this girl, I'm correcting her that she is doing something foolish, but she has just taught me wisdom. I never knew. Because even though she made a mistake, it's a problem, and she was wrong in applying it, but she taught me. Can you imagine? She taught me that life lesson. From then, if you have listened to me, you always see, I always talk about it. It is that little situation that taught me that word. And I took it and I discovered that Nigeria doesn't even know it. We don't even practice it at all. Nigerians are very abrasive. Yeah. They are only insisting on their own rightness. They don't give other people benefit of it, or they could be wrong. And benefit of that means you always consider that, maybe I'm wrong. Because what she was saying is that, yes, he did it before. But Well, maybe it's not, maybe I
people
I
could
couldn't
change,
just
yeah.
assume
That it's still like
that
that.
is I was giving it. So benefit of the doubt means that we should just think that we are always right in our own thinking.
Number 3, divorce yourself from reality. This isn't an invitation to insanity.
This is very smart because this will help you with common sense. Whenever any situation is going on, detach yourself. Be like an audience, like you are watching from beside, because it will remove your emotions from the situation. So once your emotion is not connected and your sentiment, you'll be able to have more sense.
Yeah. This is a request to consider that your sense of reality isn't real. What you see is what you've programmed your brain to see.
Yeah, that's another thing. We don't see things the way they are. We see things interpreted the way because of the information we already have inside. Things are not always the way they appear to us.
Yeah.
We only see things the way because of our worldview, because of our understanding of life. We interpret every situation differently.
That's why our common sense is different for you. Common sense.
Yes. Yes.
And we come here to take more
Common sense.
Yes.
И каждый раз от вас получаем все больше и больше.
Thank you.
Yeah, right. Once you start down the slippery slope of self-confirmation that reality is only ever what you see it as, you're open to the possibilities of bigotry, selfishness, intolerance, and prejudice, because you constantly seek to make everyone and everything else conform to your standard of reality and your standard of what's right.
And that's the problem. When we see that we're always right, we always have conflict in relationship with other people all the time.
By divorcing yourself from this one-sided reality and learning as much as you can about how other people perceive the world and our place in it, you begin to make room for common sense to grow, because your sense is built on common experiences, not just your own.
Yeah, and we have that problem as Nigerians. We are very abrasive. We always think that we are right rather than that we are wrong. And our mindset, our own, we all want to force it on other people. And this will help Africa. Common sense, in that sense, will help us.
Do not say, there are still 4 months and then comes the harvest. Behold, I say to you, lift up your eyes and look at the fields, for they are already white for harvest. Number 1, start by taking a look at your own emotions, beliefs, and practices to make sure they are not overriding your common sense.
So these are now steps to help you cultivate common sense in yourself.
Yeah.
So you start by looking at your own emotions, beliefs, because some of the things that block us from common sense, our emotions, our stereotypes, our belief system, our lifestyle practices, they make you to just reason in one particular angle.
Test different scenarios in your mind to try to ascertain the practical consequences of applying the decisions or action the way you want to. Step number 2, consult with others. If your reality is clouding your judgment too much, reach out and discuss the situation with others to gain wider appreciation of their perspectives and ideas. This is most important where you are too close to a situation and any decision or action you take might be infected by your proximity. Common sense is like deodorant. Those who need it the most never use it. Number 4, acquaint yourself with your reflective mind. This is the part of your thinking where true common sense resides. The part that takes a bit of time out from the cleverness, the brightness, the importance of everything rushing at you right now, and suggests that it is time to add a dose of cold water to the excitement.
Cool yourself down.
Yeah. Reflective thinking is like the crock pot of the mind. It encourages your thoughts to simmer until they are done, by John C. Maxwell. Reflective thinking is about being able to stand back and view the bigger picture so that you realistically appraise the situation or environment directly around you rather than forcing yourself to conform to its suitability or practicing with wishful thinking. After an accurate appraisal of the situation, a reflective mindset enables you to set goals that are realistic given the parameters you are working within and to take sensible actions towards meeting those goals. Rationalizing that external signs seem fine while ignoring complete mismatches to the person you are or the beliefs you hold is a denial of common sense. It's not denial.
That is what,
just what you're
somebody
saying.
is saying. Yeah.
It's not denial. I'm just very selective about the reality I accept.
You see, that is the denial.
Yeah.
That's how people deny and deceiving themselves.
People don't want to hear the truth because they don't want their illusions destroyed. By Friedrich Nietzsche. Nietzsche. In other words, just because other people do or use something effectively isn't a sign that it will suit you too. You need to put your own reflective mind to work on each situation to decide whether it will be a fit for you, your lifestyle, and those around you directly impacted by your decisions. Number 1, do less, think more. Simon Reynolds says that many of us are suffering from obsessive do-itis. This simply means you are obsessed with doing more all the time instead of thinking. And while we are running around frantically being busy all the time, we are not being productive and we are contributing to a culture that admires incessantly busy people. Is this common sense? Hardly. It is about working harder and longer without taking time out to reflect. Number 2, allocate thinking time every single day, even if it's only 20 minutes. Simon Reynolds suggests that you try this for 1 week and says that at the end of it, you'll notice much reduced stress levels. Number 5, reacquaint yourself with your rapid cognition. The obvious flip side to reflection is the reality that some things need very fast thinking and rapid decisions that will produce sound results. When your values are clear to you, making decisions becomes easier, by Roy E. Disney. Rapid cognition is the type of thinking that tells you that you are not going to connect with a person the moment that you meet them, or that a poorly placed ladder is going to fall sooner rather than later and needs to be shifted prompto, or that you need to quickly jump out of the way of an out of control car now. Spend your reflecting time wisely so that you will react wisely when quick thinking is required. Common sense builds on your reflection over past experiences, enabling you to refine your understanding of the world and how it works. This is in contrast to a person who only ever reacts on gut reactions, biases, and has failed to reflect on prior experiences. Reflection will bring about sound gut reactions or fast assessment of situations because your reaction is based on having taken the time to walk through errors and successes of past experiences.
I'm not commenting on reflection because it happens to everybody, right?
Yeah.
Especially when you are lying on bed before you sleep and you begin to remember everything that has happened in the day. But you can cultivate reflective practice by yourself intentionally, especially when you just wake up in the morning. You can, get yourself to thinking and be reflective as well.
Malcolm Gladwell says that decisions made very quickly can be every bit as good as decisions made cautiously and deliberately. The problem arises when we want something to be other than what it really is, falling back into our own idea of reality rather than the many realities around us. That's when our common sense fails us.
Yeah, don't just, we have to be open-minded. For you to really have common sense, you have to be open-minded. Don't just live in your dogma and in your own belief system only.
Number 6, learn things that are basic common sense. There are things that every human being should know how to do, things that go to the heart of personal survival, self-knowledge, and long-term health and safety. Number 1, knowing how to cook and how the food gets to your table. Knowing how to cook is basic common sense because it will ensure your healthy survival under any conditions. And no matter how infrequently you use this skill, it's enjoyable and rewarding. Number 2, knowing how to grow your own food. Being able to grow your own food is an assurance of self-survival. Learn the skill if you haven't already and instill it in your kids. Number 3, knowing about nutrition. Eat healthily most of the time, in moderation and with an eye to meeting all appropriate nutritional needs for your age, gender, height, and personal conditions.
Do you know that I was growing up in Africa, I never knew that. I never knew anything about nutrition. I knew the word nutrition.
Yeah.
We studied it in school, but I never knew that, for example, I never knew that nutrition is a demand, that you need to be educated about nutrition.
Yeah.
For example, I never knew that drinking water, you don't just drink water because you are thirsty. I grew up thinking that you drink water because as a result of being thirsty. Or you drink water because you ate and you needed to make it go down. That's the way my grandmother used to tell me. Drink water on top too. I think I'm not the only one who went through that school. So, but I never knew that. But water really is not because I want the food to go down or because I'm thirsty. I never knew that water is a necessity to survival. I never knew that.
I think there's a certain amount of liters that you must take daily.
And I never also knew that there are some food you could be eating that is dangerous for you. That chocolate, for example, don't eat too much. But it's sweet now, why not eat too much? Or sweet, that anything that is sweet all the time is not always good for you. I never knew that. Or for example, some people say, don't eat too much fat. I never knew that. I thought, but in most places in Africa, it's like that. Or carbohydrate all the time. Carbohydrate. Or what is it? Is it food with starch? Is that carbohydrate. Eat all the time. I never knew that that's not good for you. Or balance, that you need to put carbohydrate and grain, that you have to eat grain. I never knew that was necessary. Even up to now, I'm still struggling to eat the grain. And that's what I mean, that nutrition. In fact, in my home village, they used to say it is a goat that eats the grain. Grass, that it is goat that eat grass, that it's not for human beings. That is the kind of... So these are things that you think it's common sense. But I didn't know this common sense. And I think there's still a lot of people in Africa who still don't know. Okay?
This you may eat of all that are in the waters. You may eat all that have fins and scales. And whatever does not have fins and scales, you shall not eat. It is unclean for you. Deuteronomy 14, 9 to 10.
About nutrition.
Yeah.
And we didn't even take it serious.
I think it was later they discovered that fish that don't have fins, because of the amount of mercury in the water, it easily penetrates their skin. So, when you eat it, it becomes like catfish, for example, that we like so much. That's why you don't readily see it in Europe. But that's what we eat a lot in Africa, because it's not healthy. Number 4, knowing and respecting your surrounds. It's common sense to know what local conditions impact your life, from weather to wildlife. Take the time to get to know your local environment and respond to it appropriately, from adequately weather-proofing your home to removing invasive species from your garden.
A lot of people don't know this.
Number 5, knowing how to budget and not spend more than you're earning. It's common sense to only spend what you have. You can never be too careful when it comes to money.
Many people don't know this too. It's like common sense, but a lot of people might not know it.
Knowing the limitation of your own body. Which foods work for you. Knowing how many hours of sleep you need. And knowing the type of exercise that benefits your body and metabolism best. You are not superhero.
A lot of people don't know these things, but they are common sense that needed to be known.
7, knowing how to analyze situations and think for yourself. Instead of digesting the pulp media thrown at you every day and ending up in a state of fear because every second news item is a crime or disaster, start thinking about the reality behind the news feed and start thinking about life and happenings with a healthy, open, and questioning mindset. He who answers a matter before he hears it, it is folly and shame to him. Proverbs 18:13. Number 8, knowing how to repair items. In a world heavily dependent on disposal of items rather than repairing them. Number 9, knowing how to plan in advance. Forward thinking is always a sign of good common sense, as is being able to review the consequences of different outcomes. If you fail to plan, you are planning to fail. Benjamin Franklin. Number 10, knowing how to be resourceful. Resourcefulness is the act of making do. It's about taking small things and making them go a long way with a little imagination and elbow grease. It's about being able to thrive under difficult conditions and still prosper and not feel deprived.
Look at the bicycle.
How did he do that?
How many bricks is carrying?
It's not the lack of resources that cause failure. It's the lack of resourcefulness that causes failure, by
Beautiful.
Tony Robbins.
Beautiful. Well said.
Number 11, knowing how to connect with community. It's common sense to be a part of your community. Number 12, knowing how to keep safe. Whether you are in public or at home, safety is a matter of common sense. Think prevention, not disaster. Common sense is genius. Common sense is genius dressed in its working clothes. Ralph Waldo Emerson. Number 7, put new common sense thinking habits into place. Take the philosophy, the psychology, and the popular theories behind how we think and add this understanding to the active ways in which you can use your common sense. Carl Albrecht suggests that the following methods will help to keep your practical intelligence, that is common sense, in top shape. Number 1, practice mental flexibility. This is the ability to stay open-minded and to listen to other people's notions and ideas, even if they scare you or derail your own thinking. The mental flexibility of the wise man permits him to keep an open mind and enables him to readjust himself whenever it becomes necessary for a change, by Malcolm X. Number 2, use affirmative thinking. This is the way of perceiving yourself and others in a positive manner, always looking to see the best in others and yourself, and making constant conscious decisions about who or what you will allow yourself to be influenced by, and what you will consider worthy of devoting your thinking time to. 3, rely on semantic sanity. This is about using language to support clear thinking freed from dogma. Number 4, value ideas. This concept leads you to accepting new ideas rather than immediately knocking them on the head as unfamiliar, insane, or undoable. Number 8, you don't have to be highly educated. You you do have to be open-minded and curious. If you put in the constant hard yards of thinking things through carefully for yourself, as well as learning all that you can about the world and others, thoughts about the world, you are well placed.
And others' thoughts.
Others' thoughts about the world, you are well placed. You will have to make the mental effort throughout your life as to which messages you absorb and which people you allow to influence your thinking. Recommended books for this topic: Rid Yourself of Shallow-Mindedness and How to Be in the Here and Now, both by Dr. Sunday Adelaja.
That's a long one. But I think you all need to go through it again and again to be able to, really understand it and practice it. So what way do you people think that we could bring common sense to Africa? And do you think this common sense thinking can really help Africa? Anybody wants to talk?
Well, we started the session with a degree doesn't determine if you're educated. It's real common sense. And I believe that if we can get the people of Africa to believe and to know that it's not about higher education, that's the first step. Because I think that most people think, okay, I'm not as smart as the other person because he went to university or he has a degree, he has a PhD. But if all of us know that together and just for being human, you can be educated, I think that's the first start. So just the individual to know that with common sense they are educated. Oh, Chris, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think I just want to I want to buttress what Livia have said, because while back in Nigeria, one thing I discovered was there was so much emphasis on not just your qualification, but the grade with which you qualified. So you discover that it was time to get a job in a bank, for example, and all the banks are looking for either a first class or a second class upper. So you go for an interview, for example, and all they do, they'll tell you if you have a first class, go to the left. If you have a second class upper, go to the right. Then those still in the middle are second class lower. And they tell them to go, not to even write, and not to even write the exam. But as in people, yeah, you understand. So, and that thing has been destroying because there are very, very intelligent people that didn't maybe make a 2-1, for example, if a second class upper. Yeah, either because you didn't, because I personally failed the course because I didn't buy the lecturer's handout. You understand? So this is one thing that we in Africa or in Nigeria in particular should be looking at. Then, but because I noticed when I came to Europe, all the places I've ever worked in, none of the company has seen my educational degree. Wow. The very first place I worked in, the only question they asked me, which school did you graduate from? I told them. Maybe they went back to do their own research to find out whether I actually went to school. But what I came out with was not the issue. What they were asking me, what skills do you have? Can you do the job? Can you demonstrate to us that you can actually do the job? And that was all. From that point onward, all they want to see is your experience. Do you have experience? How many years experience do you have? What have you done? Can you relate to us? What, okay, if there's this situation, how will you go approaching it? Just to find out if you're actually thinking. And that was all. I've never given anybody my certificate or I went to this school or that school. It is all about skill and what you know. But in Africa, it's not just even about the school. Do you have first class? Whether you know it, whether you don't know it, is not their business. As long as you have first class in your paper. So I think that is an aspect we can begin to apply common sense to.
You want to come closer?
Okay.
I just identified two things that common sense can quickly fix in Nigeria. If you've ever been to Lagos or any city in Nigeria, you see how the drivers blare the horn. Even when there's obvious traffic congestion, they just keep blaring the horn as if they could fly and take off from the spot. So I think this is lack of common sense. And that's one side. I've also seen how people litter the floor. Even the educated ones, you know, they litter everywhere. And when it seems as if it's going to rain, everybody's ready to throw out their trash into the culvert so that the yes, do you know, can just flush it out. So this is an obvious lack of common sense.
Nobody is teaching it. I don't think common sense is a subject.
Somebody said it should be taken as a subject.
Yeah.
So I think growing up, we saw a bit of common sense being the order of the day, because that's what is called native intelligence. It's what is needed for the survival of one within one's environment. But it's unfortunate that over the years, it seems like it has deteriorated. So, yeah, there is a need for this to be reintroduced into the society. And I believe this...
And we can start movements also, right?
Yes.
To propagate.
Exactly.
Okay? You want to speak English?
No. Не, я понимаю. Я буду так говорить.
Go ahead, say.
Ну, во-первых, пастор, спасибо вам большое, что я рассмотрел через эту тему. Впервые я слышу очень глубоко, всесторонне. Вряд ли что-то есть, что в русскоязычном, ну, понятно, это надо процесс пройти, это надо родить, поэтому...
He's saying that the first thing I want to say is that the teaching is so many faceted, many sided, and it's so detailed. So one will have to go down and sit down with these principles teaching that is so well explained and so well broken down.
Да, прям как в Библии. Бог говорил своему народу многократно и многообразно.
Yeah.
Это то же самое учение, как, ребята, давайте учитесь мыслить логически, только вы назвали сейчас в этой теме это здравый смысл.
Не сюда, направо, налево, не.
Я увидел через это, то есть, как интересно вы запаковали в современное такое слово, понятное многим народам, так же как в итальянском есть такое слово buon senso, ну то есть это интернациональное слово, здравый смысл.
Oh, sorry, I was not translating for you what the brother was saying. I was translating, but I didn't put on the microphone. He was just saying that the teaching, it was very detailed. The teaching was very multifaceted. The teaching was from all directions, that one has to go and sit down and really, you know, study it and, to see it from different areas to really get the whole teaching.
Да, потому что вы учили нас в свое время, там, ребят, любовь к истине, вы должны жить правдой, и здесь в здравом смысле я вижу реально на практике, только другим языком, то же самое, живите правдой, выбирайте добро.
He said, living common sense is like, it's so common that why should we be talking about it? But actually, listening to it now, you discover that, wow, there's a need to teach it. It's not so common.
Здесь также видно любовь, то есть и любовь к истине, и давайте любовь. То есть не будьте категоричны, однозначны и узкомыслящие, как религиозники, что буква закона, но и любовь.
And this common sense also involves love. Be more patient with other people. Give people benefit of the doubt. Those are all evidences of love.
Поэтому если бы перевести это слово на, Бог бы тоже использовал сегодня, использует здравый смысл.
Yeah.
Дальше у меня возник вопрос к вам. Вот вы говорите, как это применить для изменения Африки? Да, но судя по теме и наблюдая за вами, вы что задавали и себе эти вопросы. И что вы делаете? Вы хотите изменить Африку, но проводите ретрит.
Yeah. So you ask the question, how do you want us to, how can we use this in Africa? Well, looking at your example, Pastor, you are training people in these teachings. You are organizing this HMT. It means other people can do the same.
Да. То есть я вижу, что, то есть по-любому нация меняется через лидеров.
When you train people and when you train leaders in this truth, and they go ahead to multiply that and to train others, then we can change a nation.
Ну, соответственно, и тренинг называется «Творцы истории».
Yeah, that's why this is called History Makers Training.
То есть, если это только одно, я буду стараться своим образом жизни локально, либо глобально уже по способностям, по возможностям проповедовать здравый смысл, соответственно, выработать.
Can you imagine if a whole nation could be taught in common sense like this?
Я уже творец истории. Да?
Then we change the history of the nation.
Yeah.
Но вопрос мой был следующий, потому что я наконец-то кое-что заметил. Это вопрос к вам. Сколько вы предвидите, по вашим расчетам, времени для трансформации страны Нигерии, либо Африки как континент в то состояние, которое вы увидите как лидер, ну, как бы стандарт или
10 years.
10 лет даже?
Yeah, he's saying that, how much do you think you need to change Africa? I said 10 years.
10,
Not
sorry,
Africa, Nigeria.
Nigeria.
Даже у меня
10 years after I get there, you will know that we have a new Nigeria.
Ну, это интересно, потому что у меня возникла цифра 3 поколения, то есть это 150 лет.
Yeah, 3 generations. He is thinking that it will take 150 years.
Моя гипотеза, но...
He said this is his own hypothesis.
Но позвольте аргументировать. Это, допустим, здесь вы и мы. Мы приезжаем, да, то есть стараемся поднять лидеров. И только уже потом, ну, качество пойдет, когда родители будут детей учить.
That we need to change generations. He is thinking about generations, that it might take 2 or 3 generations.
7 лет я стараюсь, может, я неправильно
To be able to
но 7 лет я учусь
change.
у пастора, ну что-то не такие стандарты у меня.
He said, I've been studying pastor, I've been learning from pastor for 7 years. I'm yet to catch up with him.
Но не лично, у нас мы богатые, у нас преимущество иметь более близкий доступ к ним.
He said, of course, we have video. Okay. Yes.
То есть нужны носители. Я для себя посмотрел минимум, у меня, ну, есть 5 сфер ключевых, как вы учили, и у меня там очень много, где нету здравого смысла. Более того, просмотрел...
So he said what he is saying, he is going to do now is get a list of his life and put all those common sense points and examine his life, analyze his life, what area of life these things are not, where I don't have enough common sense.
Yeah.
Me dois dias a quando share this episode, I've rather show video because I fight them. Okay, let's see. Что там? Можно? Okay, so let's see the video here.
Many of them are here to seek a release from the harsh economic realities.
Anti-common sense.
Today, miracle preaching is the shortest path to wealth in Nigeria. Preachers and heads of churches have joined the ranks of Nigeria's movements. Pastor Adelaja himself has a palatial private jet, among other luxury items.
I like your Christ, I do not like your Christian. Nazat Shushu. Shushu. Your Christians are so unlike your Christ. Okay, that's it. Reasons why African Christians are stupid.
But for him, I don't understand this. Pastor Daniel demonstrated the power of God by making people.
Brainwashing.
Some were kicked and beaten while they were asleep. Surprisingly, those who fell asleep through the power of God says they felt nothing.
Awesome. This man of God is
No common sense.
Of God, life.
It is cultivating, and its smell is overpowering.
This is in Nigeria. This is in Anambra State.
Even some
Anambra, in Anambra.
who cannot enter the lake on their own get assisted by their relations to dip their frail bodies in it.
No common sense.
Ironically, all the people I spoke with looked forward to a miracle after bathing in the water and cared less about how dirty it is.
I saw one man with my cocoa eyes, hair from the brightness, and another person from the sun in his leg. Spider came out.
It is because of this belief that everything around the lake is now taken as a healing object. Trees standing before the lake formed and took over the area have been felled and cut to pieces by miracle seekers. The surroundings of the lake are currently dotted by holes dug by people scooping clean water to drink and take home for healing and
Ujas.
I'm going to take
Ujas. Petrol. South Africa now.
I'm turning it into a pineapple juice. I'm turning it into pineapple
juice.
Turn the petrol to tomato juice.
There's a lot of fumes, but I don't have any side effect.
Oh. You want to drink pineapple juice? Okay. Wait. Is it nice? It's finished. It's finished. It's over.
Jesus. Mama, me do ba award with Jesus here. Jesus. Jesus. Jesus.
This in Africa.
Jesus.
You are a foul devil.
You see the need for common sense in Africa right now?
Do you know who you are talking to? Foul devil.
I used to always think about sexual things.
Detergent, Omo. Is washing anointing into them. Church. Pastors, churches. It is common sense we need to take, and especially with pastors and religious people. And everybody think they are right, oh, they think they are correct. Spiritual? Yes, they are spiritual. We are the ones who are not spiritual. We are carnal, yes, we are carnal. We are carnal and secular.